I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Ha Rekah Kodash. Double honors unto our apostle elders, which root great millstone wall, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abba. So this is Psalm 13, verse 1, to the chief musician, a psalm of King David. How long wilt thou forget me, O Yahweh, forever? How long wilt thou hide thy face from me? How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? Which it tells you in 2 Ezra 6 and verse 55. It says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So the heathen are nothing, all right? And their value is nothing to the Lord. And that's why he's going to actually murk a lot of these people, right? He's actually going to kill them, all right? Which is righteous because they're wicked, all right? And the heathen, they're nothing. So they have no salvation. They have no hope, all right? It says, and now, O Lord, behold these heathen, starting with that so-called white race, the red devil the Bible speaks of, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. All right. Let me grab that in Jeremiah 50 and 6. It says in verse 6, my people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. In the nations, they taught us to worship idols. They have gone from mountain to hill. They say, you're not an Israelite, right? You're a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American Indian. They have forgotten their resting place. For the majority of Israel, the Israelites, they don't own that they were Israelites because they forgot their resting place. They believe they came from America or Africa or somewhere else besides Israel, all right? The Israelites have been scattered throughout the world as slavery, all right? It says, all that found them have devoured them, the other nations, and their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against Yahweh, the habitation of justice, even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. See? So they forgot who they were. They don't care to know who they are. And the heathen, they devour us, all right? It says in 2 Ezra 6, verse 58, but we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, and it says thy only begotten and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands, into the hands of the heathen, because we sinned. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Right? Even in the book of Acts, the disciples were asking him, in a way, the same question, but different way of asking. It says in verse 4, Acts 1, verse 4, and being assembled together with him, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which saith he, Ye have heard of me. For John truly baptized with water, but ye shall be baptized with the Holy Spirit not many days hence. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? See, so they were asking the same question: when will we get out of slavery and go into being the kings and priests that you promised us? It says, and he said unto them, It is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth. Which now we're at the uttermost part of the earth, and we're prophesying against Babylon, all right, which is the kingdom of the Edomites, the so-called white race, and their kingdom is America, all right, which that's what we're doing. We're prophesying against Babylon. It says in Ezekiel, actually I'll go Obadiah, verse 1, it says, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador sent among the heathen, which you had the Egyptian president say that they went into the land of Israel white when they left black. How did that happen? Right? And I'm saying the so-called names that they call us, they say that we're so-called black, and they say the people that are there now are so-called white, which they're not white and we're not black. They are red. They are the red devil, Esau, Edom, those counterfeits that are in there, that their blessing is the sword. All right. They're not asking the Lord for help. All right. They're using technology which was given to Edom, the sword, because they are Edomites, the small hat, big nose bastards, the counterfeit in our land. And the Israelites are not black, so-called black. We are different shades of brown. All right. There's even Israelites that look like Edomites. All right. So it's not really about color. It's about the spirit. All right. And Esau was given the sword, which is an instrument of his work. All right. He destroys. But the Israelite, all right, we have faith. All right. It says, arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle. And that's what these heathen been doing since they got into that land. Right. They've been fighting over that land. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Right. The Edomite, starting with those small hat bastards. They're a small number. And they don't multiply it like the rest of the heathen, or even like Israelites. Israelites multiply the most, but Esau multiplies the least. They usually have one or two children, and they're cycles, you know. A lot of them are sodomites, transgenders, right? It says, thou art greatly despised. I got a video for you for that.
Nobody likes you. No matter how Israel, nobody believes you. Nobody likes you. Israel, nobody believes you. Nobody likes you. Israel, nobody believes you. Nobody likes you. No matter how much media covers for you, no matter how much politicians you buy to parrot your talking points, no matter how many fake influencer you hire to whitewash your face, no matter how many fake Indian-based accounts that tweets for you, no matter how many European models you bring in and you pay them so they can dance with the IDF uniform, right? That everybody can see you, everybody can smell your bullshit, right? You are like the neighbor who firebombs everybody's house, and he's sad why he's not invited to a house party, right? You will win in the battlefield. You will get more land because America supports you. It's like supporting a rabid dog that shits on your lawns and eats your cats and bites everybody, and it's like, oh, you just like you have a bad day. You will win, maybe, on the battlefield, but everybody knows who you are. A bunch of heartless, psychopathic, demonic assholes. Israel, nobody believes you. Nobody likes you.
And that man wasn't talking about the Israelites. He's talking about these Edomites that claim to be Israel. All right, the counterfeits in our land. It says in verse 2, behold, Obadiah verse 2, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. I just showed you evidence of that. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the cliffs of the rock, which they call themselves Caucasian, which means they, Caucasus Mountains, cavemen, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? That's the pride of these devils, right? Like he said, with the support of America, you'll win in the battle, so that's the pride you have. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, which America and other countries that were Edomite, right, that are Edomite, they use the eagle, all right? And though thou set thy nest among the stars, which you got to remember, they said they touched the moon and their eagle landed. Thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. And Yahweh is bringing you down. And he's going to establish the Israelite as the king and priest, all right, on earth. It says in Isaiah 14:1, for Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. And he's talking about the Israelites and set them in their own land. See, we want to set ourselves up in that land. Yahweh will send his son to set us up in that land. Yahweh Shai is going to put us back in the land. How did the Israelis get in that land? So it says I googled how was the Israeli state created. AI overview, which is a collection of information. As you can see, it's over 9 different websites that have collected this data. It says the state of Israel was created on May 14th, 1948. And this is why America's Air Force was created around the same time, to try to protect these people, because they knew that the judgment will come from heaven. It says, following the end of the British mandate for Palestine, David Ben-Gurion, the leader of the Jewish Agency for Palestine, proclaimed the establishment of the state of Israel on that day. The declaration came after a period of conflict, which I just read to you, that they knew that they're not the real Jew. So this is why they've always been in conflict in that land. It tells you when we get back in the land, the earth will be at peace. And rising tension between Palestinian Arabs and Jewish immigrants in mandatory Palestine. It says UN partition plan, which the UN is confederate to the American Edomite. The UN headquarters are in America. It says in 1947, the United Nations, which you got to look it up, UN is one of the founding fathers of the UN, passed Resolution 181 recommending the partition of Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states. See? It says the British mandate, which had been in place since 1920, was scheduled to end on May 14th, 1948. Let's see. I wanted to see they brought up the Balfour Act. Balfour Declaration. Balfour Declaration. All right, which we know they worship a demon named Baal. All right. But let's go into what is the Balfour Declaration. The Balfour Declaration was a public statement issued by the British government in 1917 during the First World War, announcing its support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. then an Ottoman region with a small minority Jewish population. The declaration was contained in a letter dated 2nd of November 1917 from Arthur Balfour, the British Foreign Secretary, to Lord Rothschild, a leader of the British Jewish community, for transmission to the Zionist Federation of Great Britain and Ireland. See? So who put them back in that land? The Rothschilds. They funded it. America and UK fought for it. The text of the declaration was published in the press on 9 November 1917. It says, "Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you on behalf of His Majesty's government the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the cabinet." So this is what it is. All right. So the British and America is the whore, and the European Union is the beast, and they were funded by the Rothschilds to do what? To put those small hat, big nosed bastards in our land. They are counterfeits. They didn't go into the land by Yahweh Shai. All right, they're not the real Israelites. I got one more question. So I asked AI, what's the difference between an Israeli and an Israelite? It says the term Israelite primarily refers to an ancient Israelite, a member of the 12 tribes of Israel, which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which have been scattered throughout the world in slavery. It says, or a person who identifies with the lineage of Jacob, who was also called Israel, which he wrestled an angel and received that name. Israeli refers to a citizen of the modern state of Israel under the Rothschilds, regardless of their ethnic or religious background. Essentially, you see, Israelite is a historical and or religious term, while Israeli is a national term. So it's a made-up name. Let's Google this here. Excuse me. Sorry. I usually try to mute the mic before I cough or sneeze, but what came out of nowhere. All right, it says national term. In the context of politics, a national term refers to a term of office within the national government of a country. It can also refer to the period of time a person serves in a political office at the national level. For example, the term limits for the President of the United States specify that they can serve a maximum of 2 4-year terms, right? So they're not the real Jew, all right? They're not the real Jew. But it says that the Lord's going to bring America down and then set up the Israelites. It tells you in verse 12, how art thou fallen? Isaiah 14:12, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Which America is going to fall, and Israel together. They're going to be destroyed with fire. All right, the military of the world is going to be gathered in the valley of Jehoshaphat. Once again, look up a terrain map and you will see the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh's Mashaphat, where Yahweh will judge the armies of the world. And they're going to be gathered in that land from Turkey down into Yemen. All that land is going to be filled with military and their equipment. And the Lord's going to, Yahweh is going to send his son Yahweh Shai, and he's going to burn them up with chariot fire, like in that movie Independence Day. That's literally going to happen over there in that land. But their military is going to shoot missiles off and destroy America in 1 hour with nuclear missiles. All right. And this is what this is talking about. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, representing America. That's why everybody wanted to come to the world, of the world, to come to America, because America was like a so-called beacon to the world, that they'll allow you to do things that you weren't allowed to do in the rest of the world, right? It says, how art thou cut down to the ground through nuclear destruction, which dideth weaken the nations, which they do coups, C-O-U-Ps. All right, they do coups and they weaken the nations. All right, and that land of Israel, it tells you right here in Matthew 24, verse 1, and Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple, which they were talking about the actual buildings. Mark 13:1, and as he went out of the temple, one of his disciples saith unto him, Master, see what manner of stones and what buildings are here. Luke 21:5, and as some spake of the temple, how it was adorned with goodly stones and gifts, he said, right? Yahushua answered, Matthew 24, verse 2, and Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down, because when he comes back, he's going to destroy it. All right? He's going to destroy it when he returns. That's why it says in Revelation 19:13, it says, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, meaning when he comes back, he's coming for war. And his name is called the Word of Yahweh, which it's written what's going to happen in the future, even what took place in the past. And that's why the Lord is saying, hey, remember Edom. Psalm 137 and 7. Remember, O Yahweh, the sons of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, which Amalek, the small hat, big-nosed bastards that are in our land today, the counterfeits, they attacked our city after Nebuchadnezzar captured the southern kingdom, who said, raise it, raise it. They were, destroy it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, which are the same people, all right, that's why it's coming out that the small hats are the politicians of America, who are to be destroyed, which America will be destroyed by nuclear destruction. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. He's going to burn your kingdom as you burned our kingdom. And he's going to put you in slavery under us because you had us in slavery. And that includes all the other nations. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones, which you have Planned Parenthood, right? Which you done worse to our children in the past. You used to cut the baby right out the womb, let it hit the ground, and then crush it with your shoe. You would bury the baby and then kick its heads off the shoulder, right? You eat the baby now, right? You eat the placenta and all this nasty shit, right? So you're going to have to pay for all these things that you've done unto us, all right? It's a righteous thing for us to want payback on them that troubled us. It says in 2 Thessalonians, and it's actually chapter 1, verse 6, seeing it is a righteous thing with Yahweh and Yahushai to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And who has troubled us? The so-called white race and these other nations. The so-called white race is Edom, the red devil the Bible speaks of. And to you who are troubled, rest with us. You Israelites that understand what's going on, you're supposed to cleave unto us. When the Lord Yahushua shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels in flaming fire on a chariot in a so-called UFO, taking vengeance on them that know not Yahweh and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, which the heathen have no salvation. So them that know not Yahweh, they have no salvation. And you got 2/3 of the nation of Israel that are going to be destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And they lack knowledge because their conscience has been seared with a hot iron from the God of this world, Esau Edom, the so-called white race. They taught you a false image of Jesus Christ. That's a goddamn lie. Jesus Christ. All right. When you go into the name here, all right, it says Jesus, which is an English word, name. And when you go back into the Jesus, the Greek Jesus, all right, it tells you here that the root word, the original word, was Hebrew origin. So his name could not have been Jesus, and it could not be Jesus. All right. The true name is down here, and they got it in the Yiddish, Hebrew, which these counterfeits use. It says the correct name, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai. Right to left. Yahweh Shai. All right? Which when you look this name up, translate it in Google, all right, they don't transliterate it to the true name Yahweh Shai, which you can. All right, they give you the name Joshua, which is different than Jesus. So that shows you that the so-called white race is lying to you by using that image of so-called white Jesus and that name of so-called white Jesus, which is a goddamn lie. It tells you in the revelation of Yahweh Shai, the book of Revelation, which was given to us to know what Yahweh Shai would be doing when he returns, or what would be happening when he returns. Revelation 1 and verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed, so he looks like a man, clothed with a garment down to the foot. So he has a garment like we wear down to the foot, and girt about the paps, which he wearing a girdle, like a golden girdle, which girdles were for men first before they used them on women, with a golden girdle, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. So the first is identifying the texture, that it's wool, like white wool, as white as snow. The color is white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, which is a brown, as if they burned in a furnace, dark brown, to almost to what they say a so-called black. But they're not black. They're brown, just a very dark brown. And his voice as the sound of many waters. So he has a deep, loud voice, which Esau don't got that. Look at Barry White. All right. Esau don't got that. All right. Esau is a weak man. All right. See, there's stereotypes about voices, right? It says the stereotypes about white voices, white accent, has been viewed as more pleasant, educated, attractive, confident, trustworthy, and rich in some studies, right? Which is a lie, all right, because they're not trustworthy, but they're deceiving. Okay, it says they're smooth, their tongue is smooth as butter, right? But war is in their heart. Okay? Now, it says sounding black, and which is in quotations, versus biology, while some speculate about physical differences in vocal cords. It's important to remember that cultural and linguistic factors play a significant role in how individuals speak and are perceived. See, So so-called black people are gonna be more stronger. Esau is weaker, and so he's gonna use that weakness cunningly. He's gonna weaponize it, and that's why it says they act like they're intelligent. They act like they're soft. Oh, how are you? Oh, we're. In fact, you get an argument with an Edomite in public, they're gonna say, "Lower your voice." Why? Because you're louder and more intimidating than them. See, they're not very scary people unless they got a gun, right? Because they have stereotypes that they have taught to the world. So you think that the so-called white man is an angel. He disguises himself as an angel of light, but really he's the devil. He's a thief coming to murder, steal, and lie about you. I want to see if this one will do it.
Some stereotypes that I've heard about black people singing are
every black person can sing.
the extra runs in the falsettos, in the pain and the struggle and the church in their voice.
Or close, like 1 out of 3 black people.
Stereotypes about white people.
I really don't know if white people can sing or not.
They always sound real airy and light, like they're running through wheat fields and singing at the same time. So I'm getting ready to be blindfolded, and I'm gonna listen and decide who's black or white. My strategy.
See, so this lady's listening. Let you listen to this video. This is a good video.
Some stereotypes that I've heard about black people singing are
every black person can sing.
the extra runs in the falsettos, in the pain and the struggle and the church in their voice.
Or close, like 1 out of 3 black people.
Stereotypes about white people.
I really don't know if white people can sing or not.
They always sound real airy and light, like they're running through wheat fields and singing at the same time. So I'm getting ready to be blindfolded, and I'm gonna listen and decide who's black or white. My strategy, again, is gonna be the privilege versus the struggle.
And I'm gonna let their spirit connect with my spirit and tell me that they black.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel.
She's an Edomite.
It has the soul, but it's that force soul.
You did a lot of Christina Aguilera grunts in your singing.
She could be mixed because she got Alicia Keys, and that's the wild cartoon Lenny Kravitz.
See, that's the
Alicia
thing.
Keys.
You got Israelites that look like that.
Like that, you get like 2 or 3 in a song, but you did like 6.
See, so she's whack. So she looks. You got Israelites that look like this woman. All right, they look like so-called Caucasians, but they're gonna have the ability to be identified through their salt, and that's what they're saying. He's like, you ain't got the salt. You're trying to make up the salt.
It sounds soulful, but it was too fun.
Just based off of that, I'm gonna say you white.
Boom.
You're right. Latino, white. Oh.
You really white?
See, she said Latino white because there's Latinos that look like this, right? So not every Israelite's going to look like a so-called Negro, Latino, or a so-called Native American Indian. They could look so-called white, all right?
I know you think I'm Mexican, huh?
Lightweight.
Boy, you know you better watch out. Some guys are only about that thing.
You black.
Okay, so you hear the thing. To me, that's gonna be black.
I can tell already. I ain't even gonna deliberate.
You better be black. Hey, told you, I know.